Let's talk about something we haven't really ever touched on. And as it's Youth Month, it's drawing to a close. South Africa is abuzz with pride as its national cheerleading teams return home after a thrilling performance at the ICU Cheerleading World Championships that were held in Orlando, Florida. With passion, skill and determination, Team South Africa took on the best teams globally, showcasing the country's depth of talent and the growing popularity of cheerleading in South Africa. Notably, this year's delegation was the largest ever, with 6 teams competing, marking a milestone for the nation. Well, joining us in studio, we've got cheerleading coach Thapelo Nkwe and cheerleader Skyla van Heek. Great to have you guys. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
So, Thapelo, let me start with you, because I didn't even know that there was such a buzz around cheerleading. When has there been this underground movement that we have not known about, or that I haven't known about?
Yeah, I mean, South Africa has started going to the ICU World Championships in 2011.
Okay.
And obviously it was quite small, but as the years have obviously gone by, it's gotten really popular. And yeah, as you said, this year was the biggest year that we've had, and we had really good performances with all 6 of our teams. So it's at a boiling point at this moment where it's just gonna be amazing.
It's fantastic. So Skyla, let's talk to you. I mean, when did you start doing cheerleading?
I started like around about 3 years ago in grade 7.
In grade 7?
Yeah.
So, do they do it at the school that you go to?
Yes.
So that was kind of what you...
Yeah, that's what introduced
me.
introduced
you to it, then you fell in love with it, and then you started doing it nationally.
Yeah.
How big is the sport? Let's talk to that. How many of your friends, how many people are actually sort of loving this?
I think it's a pretty big sport. I think it's still in the process of growing, but quite a few of my friends do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been doing it for a long time.
Yes.
When did you start?
So I started 2012.
Okay.
So this is obviously with COVID and stuff, that was in between, but all in all, I've done it for 13 years.
13 years. And what drew you to it?
So it was actually a friend of mine, my best friend, his brother did cheerleading at the school the high school that we went to, and we just decided as a group of boys, we're like, let's give it a shot. And I think there were about 10 of us, and there's just me and my best friend really that's left now. But that's really how it started. It started off as just being a social thing to say, let's give it a shot. And then it really is just an addictive sport. I tried taking a break, but yeah, it's really just such an addictive sport.
The optimal word here is taking a break, because I can only imagine how many bones get broken doing this and practicing. I mean, this is something, and you say it's addictive, and I see that amongst the kids. They're just loving this, but it does obviously come with a lot of injuries,
yes,
and a lot of things that you need to be careful doing this.
No, 100%. I mean, in the US, I actually did a study that cheerleading is one of, obviously in the US, the cheerleading is one of the biggest sports that they have. It's, I mean, millions and millions of cheerleaders there. But they said cheerleading is one of the highest head injury sports. After it's even higher than American football.
You are joking.
Yeah, so wow. So it is a dangerous sport, don't get me wrong, but you know what? That's why we learn and practice on technique and stuff, and try and minimize the chances of injury.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My only introduction, and this is really on like a very dumb level, I'll tell you, is watching American movies. And I thought, okay, well, that's an American thing. But actually it's not, because there are a lot of countries in the world that are actually participating in this. So, I mean, what's it like being on a global stage? You obviously were there. You went to Orlando.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
All I can say is it's the best experience I've had in my life.
Really?
Like the amount of adrenaline that just rushed through my body, it was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the kind of countries that were participating in this, which countries were there?
I was in youth co-ed and all-girl. There was Australia, Trinidad and Tobago,
New Zealand.
There were,
so there's New Zealand, there's Spain, so the International Cheerleading Union is affiliated with 120 countries.
Yeah.
So over the April, obviously that last week of April is when it gets held every year, and over those 3 days we've got like 40,000 cheerleaders that are, just doing their stuff. And it is intimidating, obviously, with South Africa, because we also only go once. We go once every 2 years, whereas all the countries go once they go every single year.
Every year,
yeah, but it is intimidating, but it is, I mean, we at the ESPN Arena, which houses 20,000 spectators. So if you are in there and you performing in front of 20,000 people, it's a bit crazy. We haven't obviously had a 20,000 capacity, but when obviously the big teams like USA and Canada are in there and you watching, it's vibrant.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
I can only imagine. So this year in particular, the teams that went, I mean, this was unprecedented. You guys, I mean, you can tell me through this because I mean, I'm not too sure how you all did, but I saw so many of the teams getting through to the finals.
Yeah.
Is this a first? Has this ever happened before?
Yeah. So we've never had all teams go through to the finals, which was
wow.
it was
teams.
all
So
teams.
all the teams that entered actually went through.
So we took 6 teams. All of them went through to the finals, which was. It was exciting. It was really, really awesome because we have obviously had some heartbreak over the years where we go, you pay so much money, and then you only compete once because you obviously don't make the finals. But this was just an awesome year. Like I went as a coach as well as an athlete, so it was a little bit more rewarding in that instance, and it was just it was phenomenal what the athletes did.
I'm sure. And I mean, you look at 6 teams, which tells me that is this the most teams that have entered from South Africa before?
So
we've never had 6 teams there before. This tells me that this sport is growing and the talent is rising as well. What's behind this drive? Why do you think that it is so popular?
I think cheerleading is, as I said, it's just really an addictive sport, and people don't really know too much about it, and that's obviously what we're working on behind the scenes, just to get the exposure out there and getting it into more schools, because that's how the really top countries make it work, is that
getting
they
start
from school from school level, and then you obviously just feed it into the national team setup, and it becomes really fruitful. So it's just, there's so much trust. Obviously, if you're throwing a person, that person needs to trust that you're going to catch them. And if I'm throwing the person, I need to trust that that person above me is going to do their job. So a lot of friendship and a lot of trust comes in cheerleading because you have to trust them. If you don't, it's just never going to work.
Oh, that's insane. It's just... Look, I leave it to the youngsters because I'm not sure I could even think about doing something like this. But for you, where do you see yourself going with this, Skyla? I mean, obviously once you finish school, you want to continue doing it, or what's the story? What do you want to do?
Yeah, my goal is to continue doing like cheer after school and hopefully make it into Rebels, which is his team.
Is that I'm sorry, because you're telling me something I don't even know. What the Rebels? The Rebels is the top team.
So Rebel Athletics is the top club team, tertiary club team in South Africa at the moment. So
so that's your goal,
and hopefully
to get into the Rebels.
Yeah, and hopefully go to many more World Championships.
World Championships. Well, I mean, every year you can enter, every year you can go, and I suppose it's also being spotted and seeing that we're playing on a global platform when it comes to this. But I mean, traditionally, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I mean, cheerleading was usually what I would see at sporting matches and getting involved in that kind of stuff, but it's obviously much more to it than just that. Yeah,
so a lot of people have this misconception that cheerleading is just pom-poms.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't want to say it.
No, it is.
Yes.
I mean, like that's an element of cheerleading. So there's different elements of cheerleading. There's sideline cheer, which is the pom-pom and the rah-rah, trying to get the crowd going and everything like that. But what we do is obviously just a whole lot of choreography, with lifting people and tumbling. So it's really just a mixture of a lot of things. And and as a boy, there's always that misconception. It's like, oh, boys don't do cheerleading. But if you look at some of our boys that do cheerleading, they are one of the biggest boys that do cheerleading.
Yeah.
So
listen, if I was doing cheerleading, I would want a boy catching me, and God help him.
Yeah,
that's what I can say, because he's not in for an easy time. Guys, we're very proud of you, and we thank you for visiting us. It's something new. It's Youth Month. It's a growing sport. It's something as well that, you know, when youth turn to something and they have an interest and they love something, it keeps them out of mischief and gives you a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, because you guys practice a lot.
Yeah.
This is hard. And do you find that, as I wrap up, sorry, because I really want to leave a message on Youth Day, because it's important to give the youth hope. somewhere where they can go and
Yeah.
get involved in community.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say cheerleading is one of the, I've done many different sports, and the other children have done many different sports, where cheerleading is just one sport that is for everyone. You know, like with rugby, there's that thing is you have to be big to do rugby and all of that. But whereas cheerleading it's just that safe space for a lot of the children that I coach. It's, you know, everyone's going through so much, but when they come there to practice and whatever, they just, you know, everything just becomes, you know, you start from fresh, and it's just that safe space that we try and obviously make for the children and make it enjoyable, obviously.
Amazing. Guys, good luck. We want to see you coming back perhaps with a gold medal. You never know. This
That's
may
the
happen
plan.
next year. But I know you've got a performance for us. Yes. You're going to do some cheerleading here in Morning Live Studios. I don't know how it's going to work, but I don't know. I'm saying my prayers during the break. But guys, well done. Thanks for coming to talk to us. Cheerleading Coach Thapelo Nkwe and cheerleader Skyla van Heek, talking to us about how well Team South Africa did at the international cheerleading competition that took place earlier this year in Orlando, Florida.